All right, what's going on, YouTube? Hope everybody's doing amazing. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Market Outlook, Weekly Market Outlook. We are here, ready. It is May the 4th, so you already know. May the 4th be with you from my Star Wars people out there. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, so we'll try to trade off some tequila tomorrow. What do you think, bro? You think that's a good idea? We take a couple shots and trade live?
Oh yeah, of course. It has nothing to do with actual Mexico Cinco de Mayo, by the way, but any reason to drink tequila is always a good reason. So I'm definitely down to take every TP we hit, we'll take a shot. So we will definitely get wasted.
Let's go. All right. On a serious note, though, guys, we're super excited to be here for a brand new month. We are officially in month 5 of the year, which is crazy to think. But yeah, man, a lot has been learned. We've seen some very, historical things in the first quarter of the year. First almost half of the year is almost wrapped up, and we've seen all type of stuff, man. Crazy bear markets in the indices, crazy rallies, tariffs, crypto having its new runs, like literally a little bit of everything for 2025. So I'm excited to see what brings forth the market, this month. And we're here to walk you guys through it all. But yeah, appreciate everybody who has tapped in here. We are about to pretty much get things underway here as we flood up the chats, just going ahead and making those last minute messages and calls just to flood this up. But guys, we will also be giving away another funded challenge account on this live session. All we have to do is just subscribe to both of the channels, both mine's and Brent's. And I'm actually closing in on 2K subscribers. I know that you guys have done an amazing job of helping Brent also scale his YouTube very quickly. So we appreciate you guys so much for doing that. So hopefully we get to wrap up 2,000 subs on this specific channel today. But yeah, man, super grateful. So we want to give back to you guys and make sure that we do that giveaway before we wrap up today's session. So definitely promote, guys. Get all your teams, all your people, anybody that wants to learn a little bit about the markets for free and also receive some capital to trade with. It's just a blessing. So with that said, man, I got my co-host, the main man of the hour, Mr. Brent Balal here. Thank you, bro, for always taking time to be here, with us, breaking things down for us. And I know that you do an amazing job of breaking down the fundamentals to kick these things off. So I'm gonna pass it to you, let you do your thing, bro. And yeah, let's get it, guys.
Of course, bro, let's get it. Let's get it because we definitely have a good week ahead of us here. It's going to be super interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to show you guys, obviously, as always, the news for the week. Then we'll talk a little bit about NAS and all the good stuff, right? But right now we talk about news. Just quick reminder, as always, news, you don't fall for the smoke, right? We only know what type of news it is to know how to trade it, when to trade it. That's all that's important, right? So today we're good. As usual, we still have to pay attention to Sundays because sometimes President Trump might speak or anything like that. So we just always need to be aware. But right now we should be perfectly fine. Tomorrow, Monday, we start having red news right away. So off the bat, right away, we have final service PMI, ISM service PMI. We have bank holiday for JPY, loan officer survey. So we have a lot of stuff. You guys know that I like trading red folder news on TikTok. This one tomorrow, I don't think so, to be honest. It's not a news that I really want to trade. I don't think I will. So nothing really to worry about. Just obviously be aware if your broker doesn't allow it or anything like that. Just know that we might have a movement around that time. Tuesday, chill day. It's fine. We do have trade balance, so we need to see what this trade balance is at 7:30 just to know the numbers. Tip economic optimism, it's good to know for the numbers. 10-year bond, it's good to know, especially if you're swinging any sort of indice, right? NAS, that's really what we do here. So this is going to be good. And then the API weekly statistical bulletin is good. So these are good news to like know what numbers are happening just for the future. If you're swinging trade, if you have investments, anything like that, it's good data to see, not something to crazy trade off, but it's good data to collect and just kind of have maybe a little bit of a tip what might happen the next day, but not fall right through it. So what I mean by that next day, we have federal fund rates, FOMC statement, FOMC press conference. This news, most likely I will trade on TikTok. Even though it's a little bit later outside my time, most likely I will, along with consumer sentiment, because this actually jumps the way that I like to. Federal fund rates, they're saying that it's supposed to stay the same. We've spoken about this before in the last couple Sundays. We've spoken about it in my live sessions. There's no reason why it shouldn't drop. It needs to drop, but this is where, again, more tension gets created between how the Feds, President Trump, all that stuff, because again, this needs to drop. But that's what I mean. The data from here can actually give us a good lead into what may happen the next day. If the data we collect Tuesday is like, oh, NASA's definitely going up, don't just buy. Like, still look at the candles. The charts don't lie. Like, take based off that, not off the news. But again, it might be a good hint of what we may be seeing the next day. That is Wednesday. Thursday, we have some more news again. We have unemployment claims, 7:30. This one most likely I will be on TikTok as well. I've been liking to trade unemployment claims recently. It's been moving super nice. I like it a lot. We have 30-year bond, another important one to look at. Natural gas storage, again, to look at as well, being now that we're transitioning more into actually the production of natural gas and everything in the United States. It's important to see the storage side of things. How much do we have left? How much do we have in storage? If you trade oil, this is obviously something good for you as well, especially those that trade futures. And a lot of people trade futures, trade oil. This is a good one for you as well. But more importantly, this is the one that I'm going to be looking to trade at 7:30. Sure. Friday, we close out the week. Correction Fridays. As you know, I rarely trade Friday. This was one that I will not be trading. There's nothing really important to me that I see here on this Friday. Yes, we have a lot of FOMC speakers. I get it. And they're a lot back to back. Cool. Have fun with that. It's nothing that I'm super interested in. So really just to recap here, as I mentioned, the good day is going to be Wednesday for sure, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, all the way to all the way to 2 o'clock. That's going to be good. And then Thursday's going to be good, 7:30. Most likely both of these days I'll be on TikTok on top of my 3 sessions that I have in the week as it is, right? So another busy week. I'm excited for it. We start off the month. Obviously, that's another thing you guys have to be aware of. It's the first week of the month. So a lot of orders get placed into run for the month, all that type of stuff. Don't fall in love with trades. Follow RST. You guys already know you'll be fine. Don't get freaked out. It's okay. And then something that I mean, we were talking about on the call that we had yesterday with Rich and Armin, and another presentation that I had as well earlier that morning, because the prior day I was on TikTok, right? And I was watching this guy that he was talking. I'm like, it really hit me, guys. And I don't know if this has hit you or not, so if it's just me, right? But it's month number 5, meaning next month, number 6 is halfway into 2025. I don't know. This year to me just has been like one of those time loop weird situations. Like I really feel like right now we're still in February, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it's just me, but we've done a lot, we've accomplished a lot, but I don't feel that we're already so far into the year. So if you've not taken stuff serious, for better, nice words for YouTube. You guys know that those aren't the words that I would be using, but just to be nice on YouTube, you guys need to like for real, like look at the calendar, not just at the clock, but look at the calendar. We're almost halfway into 2025. So let's make sure we do what we got to do. But that's it for the news. If you want to take the screen, Rich, tell us what you see on NAS. I'll tell you what I see on NAS and we'll keep on rolling.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan, man. All right, so we got news situated, guys. Let me go ahead and share my screen here and get straight into it. So NAS, let's kind of take a little bit of a further look out here, okay? And let me hide the visibility of this thing. One sec. All right. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Here we go. All right, so first and foremost, guys, when it comes to NAS, we had our moments, especially when the, tariffs and all that stuff was going on, where we saw NAS basically, have that major meltdown. And, I thought honestly we weren't at bottom, and you never know, we could make new bottoms. But at this point, I think it's just clear that for the most part, we've basically taken out major liquidity points. If we look at the daily time frame, weekly time frame from basically a year ago. So literally, this is April of 2024. We had this last major low that kind of supported price throughout all the rest of the year and the beginning of 2025. So during this, big push that we had to the downside over the last couple months, we've basically grabbed liquidity from a year past, and now we're making that recovery upwards. So, basically in general, we've had obviously some good opportunities for shorts in certain scenarios, but for the most part, I still think that at this point, we're better off focusing for now on looking for bullish setups for positions that we can hold for a longer time, right? When we were selling the market, we were definitely with momentum, with trend, and that allowed us to really hold sell positions for a very long time if that's your style. Um, but now I think the opposite is true. We've had some moments to sell, but overall, we've seen, especially over the last, week and a half, us being able to see price climb and climb and climb. And if you're in the private mentorship, which is called a Koshex, I know a lot of you guys that are on this YouTube live are probably in a Koshex, then if we've been on the live sessions and everything, we've talked about a couple different important levels. Throughout the last week and a half, I was talking about getting to this supply area of 19,600, which obviously at this point we have already achieved that. So we're going to highlight this here for 1 sec. So we basically tapped into 19.6, almost right around there, and had that strong little dip a little bit below 19,100, pushing almost, yeah, basically 19,000 price point. And from that point, I was looking at, okay, maybe we can continue to go a little bit more bearish to fill in some of these fair value gaps here in the 18,000s. And we did not get that. After we ended up basically taking liquidity from all of these lows here, we saw an instant rejection and a correction back to the overall trend, which was pushing bullish. So basically, once we grabbed all this liquidity here, we started shifting upwards, breaking above all these highs and pushing deep into that supply area. So basically, at that point, I did not really like the idea of selling off that supply zone anymore. A big thing about looking at certain areas is not just tapping into the area itself, but actually seeing how we push into those areas. That tells me a lot. So, for example, when we were kind of having this channel consolidation pushing up into 19,600, this is what I actually liked because I saw that we were building a lot of liquidity on the downside. So tapping into 19,600 with this type of build up into it is what I actually want to see to get a rejection and basically make this exact move. We didn't really exactly tap into that supply zone too cleanly. We kind of just like nipped it right there. And then we got that big drop. So the moment that we get that big drop and we end up grabbing all that liquidity, now my whole reasoning for wanting to short this area is kind of gone. Because I know that the intention of the market is always going to be to seek liquidity. So if we already achieved that objective down here, then I'm not really so interested anymore in that supply zone as being a potential sell area. Again, just because the whole point of selling there would be to take it to grab these lows. So if those lows are grabbed and price is now shifting structure, breaking and closing above highs after a liquidity grab, that's a very bullish scenario. And so from that point, that 19.6 zone, I just figured we'd run straight through it, which we did. And so the next target, if we again go back to the higher time frames, is the next area of liquidity, which is going to be 19,360, 19,350. I'm sorry, 20,350 or 20,360, give or take, right? Basically, this old high point on the daily is something that we are basically coming in hot, ready to just smack through. For all I know, at market close, we might just end up gapping up in there. It's very possible. But, we got to see how it opens. In general, I just think anywhere above basically 19,600. So 19,600 and up, somewhere in this area, we'd be looking for NAS to hold ground there and push up into 20,350, 20,400. And then from there, we got to reevaluate because, again, that is a major liquidity point. The same way that we have major liquidity points on the downside that give reactions, we can have a major liquidity area create a reaction the other way as well. So once we push past 20,360 and grab that high, that could be a potential area to see actually a massive sell-off temporarily. But in general, I just think that, that real strong push at 19,000 that we had, I think this was what, Wednesday, is going to be a really important price to basically hold there. So even if we do get a reaction and we sell off of this high, basically just kind of continuing higher. So to summarize really quickly, I think we'll expect bullish price action into taking this high. Once we take that high, we got to see how it reacts. If it gives that strong rejection, then we might look to basically come back lower to a little bit below the 20,000s. And from there, continuing higher. So we'll see. This is more or less like kind of my general outlook of how I see NAS for now. So the main priority heading into Monday, if you're going to trade Monday, is if we haven't grabbed this high, let's look for bullish scenarios that support that bias. And then from there, we reevaluate. Are we going to give a strong reaction, or are we just going to end up pushing through and using that as a new support area to take us higher? So that's the way I see NAS for now. I'm gonna let Brent give his 2 cents on here and keep it pushing. So appreciate you, bro. Let's see what's up.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one for sure. It's gonna be an interesting one. I think the biggest reason for that is what happened Friday. So if we trace back here, right? We trace back, we were here Thursday, Friday. So as we mentioned, that's how I mentioned last week, right? That we were gonna have probably a lot of consolidation. We were gonna be stuck a lot in the market, and it did that for a long time. It was stuck for a long part of the week. And then we just had that massive just jump. We did have some news, obviously do what we have to do, some movement, but we had most of the week, we had just consolidations, a little bit of a breakout consolidations. But way back since April, we've kind of had in that stuck in that side of things, right? Until Friday. Friday is really what set things apart. I know I was trading Friday live for news. We trade what was it? FOMC, I think it was. But we did trade that. And we were waiting for that break. Either it was going to go down, level down, which didn't truly level down in our favor, and it broke. And I did mention if it broke, to take it. I did see a lot of people actually take the buys, and you guys grabbed the buy because it broke above this level. Once it was done, and I said that once it's past this level here, we're gone. And it literally just did that. And once it broke that level, it completely went up, new highs, all that good stuff. Not new highs, but for the weekend itself. And that's always weird when the week ends like that. That's a lot of times it's best for us to see when the week actually ends. Thank you, honey. When the week ends, kind of chill. Chill comes back to what happened a lot, but it left us in a really weird spot right now. So for me personally, we could either continue in this channel, come back to the previous day high, and then make a decision of what if it wants to do. That would be obviously something big. The other side of things, if it breaks this EMA 200, goes and breaks the supply of the point that you were mentioning, Rich, there, then we're off. Like, and then we're off to this high point again of that 2181, decide what it wants to do from there and keep on going. So ultimately, for me, I think it would make a lot more sense. It would be a lot healthier for the market and kind of reset to get us to the point where we need to be at for that news happening Wednesday, Thursday. I think it would make sense to come take down, like come all the way back into this 19,880 zone, right? 19,880, 19,860, come back here where that actual change of character happened to boost up. So I would like to see the market actually come all the way down here, take care of all of this, to then decide what it wants to do. Does it want to break down and continue going down? Does it want to go up? I'm still going to leave my bull target from last week be the same one for this week. I'm not going to change my bull target. That is going to remain the same. It is at 21,000 is the bull target. We still have many reasons why it should go up there if it decides to go up there. And as crazy as it may sound, I'm still going to leave my bear target be the bear target. I'm still going to leave it at 16,800. What was it? 16,600. I'm still going to leave the bear target there. Should we hit institutional numbers first? Of course, we should hit the 20,000, 19,000, all that good stuff, right? But there's still a lot to be taken care of down here. There's still a lot. But obviously, if we zoom out, we see this nice little trend here that it's been respecting all the way through. So we should have a little bit of a drop, hit that previous day low, and then just continue its way up and hit our bull target. If that happens, I'm happy with that. Which is crazy because as you guys know, I'm a bear. I like my sells. I would like to see this come all the way back down to the good old days of 16, 15,000 or less. But market-wise, it needs to come down, respect the trend. When it comes down, the actual trend itself is on the previous day lowest. So you have the trend and the day lowest that I would respect off and continue its way going up to at least to a bull target of 21,000, if not even more at this point, right? It can reach a max this week of like 22,200 without a problem. So I think really this week, what I'm going to be doing is between here And Wednesday, Thursday, just look for those little small little channels that start forming. Take advantage of those, some quick little 20 up, 20 down, little movements that build up. So when we get to that Wednesday, Thursday, and we have news, we have a nice little buffer we could play with and run with it and see where the market will leave us. Again, I think Thursday is going to be one of the most important days this week based off what Wednesday is going to happen. Just because with Wednesday, we could have a massive, massive candle deciding if it's going to push us back into this zone. Even if you look at it this way, guys, like we were pretty much nicely in this whole zone since here, respecting it nicely here, right? Just bouncing in between. It was a nice little point of control, which it should have continued moving here. Like I was expecting the entire week to do that, the entire week, but we had this Friday jump. So will it come back into this and we'll continue going here into this point of control, this point of interest for the market, or will it just decide to go all the way up, decide to break it through, go down? It's a lot that can happen right now, guys. So I wish I had a little bit better like bias as far as like, oh yeah, 100%. But Friday did kind of knock me off a little bit. So that's where I stand here when it comes to NAS. So we shall see. Gold, I know a lot of people ask for gold. Gold finally decided to take a nice little dive. Let's hope it continues that way into forming a nice little bear to come down at least to this 3,000 again. That's what I was really targeting. I did send a couple taps last week and I was looking for that 3,000 mark. It still hasn't hit. It would be nice to do so. And it all really depends on what this interest rate's going to happen. It's really going to be a huge key with this. If it's the dollar's going to keep on remaining the same for the interest rates not being lowered, then we should probably see gold continue to hike at that point, right? But if not, we should continue to start seeing it drop. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's happening here. I know there's a lot of like JPY news. There's a lot of holidays. There's a lot of big holidays at that point too. So that might give a little bit more movement for the dollar as well to be traded a little bit heavier. So that's where we're at with that part. Anything else, Rich, that you want to share chart wise, chart related?
Yeah, just giving like a little bit of a macro to piggyback off of you with gold. Um, so like for me, gold, if you guys are looking at it, just to kind of understand the overall narrative that we're seeing right now, we saw 3,500 be a huge psychological number for this market to basically tap into. If you look at it, we literally got to 3,500 and basically uh have reacted and respected that point. So like 3,500 on the dot. It's crazy. So just know that when we talk about psychological numbers and things of that nature, it's not something to overlook. And this applies to NAS or anything, like clean psychological whole numbers are transactional numbers. Like that's where institutions are gonna look to try to push things towards. So I think a couple of things that stand out to me on gold from like a swing trading slash like investor perspective, because I'm not day trading gold right now, is structure point of 3166, 2957, and then the all-time high. This is the current range from a higher time frame perspective that you guys should be understanding where you're at in gold for the next move. So basically, if we look at a couple different concepts, one of them is fair value gaps. We saw price tap into this fair value gap, give some type of reactions, and now we've ran through that. So the momentum is currently bearish for sure in general. Bearish targets would be basically filling in these fair value gaps that we see anywhere from 3180 to about 3,030, somewhere in this general area. If we look at like retracement levels from like a fib, from low to high. Come on, man. All right, anywhere from 62 to 78%. Those are areas where if we are going to get more continuation to the downside, again, taking gold down to 3,160, 3,060, like these type of retracement levels are going to be really important to see gold potentially get to if it's going to keep pushing lower. And then one thing that really stands out to me too is the daily supply zone that was created. So if you guys kind of have been on my sessions or watched any of my pre-recorded content, you know that I like looking at areas in supply of demand in the form of wicks as like where we can expect reactions from. So if we notice, this is that daily candle that wicked up into 35 and closed bearish, and that's what kind of led to this whole push down. So when we do retrace up or when we start pushing up, I would expect price to actually get back up into the 34.25 area. And that would be a really sensitive price point because if price is not going to make new all-time highs, it's because it's going to tap into here, right? And make that the higher low that really takes price lower. So these are like the overall macro things I'm looking at for gold on like the 4 hour, the daily. So obviously, if you guys are in a Cossacks, for example, we have a lot of educators, including Brent, Arabella, Joel, Joseph, Abid, like so many people that trade gold with different strategies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, one thing that is something that is kind of like correlating between everybody is understanding structure, understanding trend, understanding very key levels. And so again, these levels I just gave you guys, just be conscious of them throughout the week. I would say this whole week and next week, as areas where, like look at the structure points, right? If we have these highs here, right? And we're pushing lower, lower, lower. We're currently still in bearish momentum. So what I'll be looking for if we're gonna focus on buys would be seeing clean shifts of structure above these high points. Like you want to see price break and close these high points here. And then from there, you'll know where is it headed. It's going to be headed to, this 34.40, 34.25 area here. But until you start seeing those shifts of structures on the higher time frames, like hour plus, I would stick to just continuing the lower highs and lower lows, potentially again into these retracement areas of like 62%, 78%. And yeah, so just keep those levels in mind. Again, I'm not even day trading this, so it's easy for me to just give you projections and stuff like that versus trading in the moment. But I think if you just understand that, hey, we formed this high, this low, this is the new high in this range, we're still bullish unless we really break and close below this low. If we were to just run through that, then I think we're in like an overall bearish market in general for gold on the higher time frames. But really until then, this is really just a push down, an expansion, and one big retracement that can lead to an expansion. So just keep that in mind. But make sure you guys are understanding structure. Structure is a huge part of trading. And so if price is still forming lower highs and lower lows, keep selling. If we start seeing the shifts back up, then we can focus on buying. So that's it for gold. Did you want to elaborate on gold or anything else? Or I think you talked about it already, right?
That's
Okay.
funny because I have an alert set at 3160 myself. I know how to use the
Oh
fib,
yeah.
but I have another at 3160. Like once that's super important. If it respects it, we're going full buy mode, which I won't do nothing. If it breaks it and actually respects that break and retest, we're going in full sell zone. For me, that 3160 is huge. Like I want that number to be broken so bad because you know that I like selling and I could send taps for everybody, but I need until it breaks that. And again, it's huge what you say about structure, right? You can't fall for the excitement because right now, if you just look at it without really paying attention to it, you're like, oh, sells all day. Like, hell yeah, it's breaking. It finally broke that big high. It's coming down. Sell, sell, sell. No, like that could actually be a really good buy point right there if it actually respects and you'll get screwed. So don't get too excited. Zoom out a little bit. Look for these good points, especially how gold has been running now. And we have the interest rate situations and all that kind of stuff happening too. So don't get too excited. Look for those key levels. So, like I said, I do have 3160 set for me. It's not a buy or a sell. It's just 3160 little eyes and an exclamation point where it's like, what's happening here? Will it break it? Will it bounce off of it? What's going to happen? But that is super, super important for me. But that's it for that. Somebody just asked about Bitcoin. I saw there, Brandon. Bitcoin
Yeah,
right
I
now
was
for
gonna
me,
get into that too.
I'm chilling right now on Bitcoin. I'm not looking to do anything myself right now with it. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
any right now, Rich, but for me, it's not of my interest right now. It's either buy or sell it or anything like that there. Something drastic has to happen to really catch my attention on it.
Yeah, Armin and us, so if you guys are not aware, Armin is a educator for Akashics who specializes in crypto. And he usually gives us certain like scenarios for especially altcoins for us to, look to invest into. And a lot of it plays off of understanding the Bitcoin cycle that we're currently in. And so with Bitcoin, again, like, if you're somebody that's been consistently plugged into these sessions, this is where we kind of talk about other things more than NAS. Like when we get on our sessions, we're typically like just focused on NAS and looking to execute positions because we're in the middle of New York session and news. And so it's time to just execute. But on the Sunday market outlooks, it kind of gives us the chance to break down other assets and how that ties into maybe our investments or other things that we do outside of just day trading NASDAQ. And yeah, basically, things won't always change so rapidly because we're looking at these things on daily and weekly time frames a lot of times. So from this Sunday to last to the one before that, even sometimes 2 weeks is not really a long time when you look at the market from a way broader perspective. So nothing's really changed as far as the levels. Like these are going to be the levels that I'm going to care about for the foreseeable months. Months is 75 and 90 because and you can say 92 whatever, right? But basically just look at key levels, right? Especially when we're looking at like long-term investing and things like that, I don't need to look at order blocks too much, or I don't need to look at manipulation too much. Like that's something we use to be very precise in the market when it comes to investing. I just think it's more of a, like, you don't have to be perfect with your entries. Like it's more like scaling into things, dollar cost averaging into things. So you don't have to be perfect. So in general, this 90 level is the most relevant thing that we have right now. And then obviously all-time high. So all-time high, 90 and 75. Those are the three main levels that we're paying attention to because again, this is a daily chart that we're looking at. This is not a 1 hour or a 5 minute. So we talked about price struggling to break below it for a while, ends up running through it, and that's what led us to go to the next key level. Now, the fact that we're pushing back above this key level, like we broke and closed very aggressively above the key level. That right there is a major indication that we could potentially head to all-time highs. Doesn't mean we will, but we have to monitor now when we start getting those natural pullbacks, because once you break through a very specific area, you're going to get pullbacks. Again, when we broke through it the first time, what happened? We had a major pullback and then it came lower, right? So kind of the same thing now. We broke above it. You're going to probably see some pullbacks to start the week. And depending on how price reacts here, like if we break through, we respect the area and start breaking and closing again above previous highs, those are further indications that we're going to most likely just keep heading to here. Now, if price is going to, which I don't think it will right now, but if it does kind of tap into here and start to break below, then that might be conversation to take us back down here again. So you always have to monitor those key levels, and that's going to give us a glimpse of, where we're headed to next long term. And honestly, I only care to teach you guys this part because that helps me keep an eye on the altcoins. Personally, for Bitcoin, I'm not interested in buying at 90, to be honest with you, like personally. We get a lot of commissions and things like that come in the form of Bitcoin that can like sit there. So like, don't get me wrong, I have Bitcoin, but for me to like really want to like throw in a chunk of money into Bitcoin right now, for like what I'm gonna get in returns, I'm just not gonna do it. And Armin talked about it yesterday too. Like he'll look at Bitcoin cycles and then mirror that with altcoins and find positions where like maybe on altcoin you can do 100% returns with the same move that Bitcoin did that made you a 20% return. Like going from 75 to 90 is not going to be a huge jump in your portfolio. Again, I think that was like the 30% move, right?
Mhm.
But, and don't get me wrong, 30% is not bad, but we can look at that move and find altcoins that can use that momentum that Bitcoin's creating
Mhm.
to give you 100% move or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, Bitcoin, that's gonna be important to keep an eye on. That's why you're seeing, in general, like we've seen a little bit of recoveries lately on things like ETH, XRP, Solana, like everything is going to basically kind of mirror again what Bitcoin is doing with that push up now. But nothing changes. Again, for me, like I'm not gonna get caught up with just recent Bitcoin price action. My plan is my plan. With cryptos, like I'm gonna wait until we get to drastically low levels to go in heavy. And that has not changed. So I'll continue to wait for Solana to get under 60, $50. XRP is still at $1, Ethereum under 1,000. When those times come, then we'll be barking very, very loudly at you guys. Not to tell you that you should, because we're not financial advisors, but that's what I'm gonna do. So
Yeah.
that's it though. I think that literally covers everything on my end, bro. So I want to give you some time to share your thoughts on cryptos,
Yeah.
any other things you want to talk about for sure, bro.
Oh, for sure. That's great because we literally did that. Like when we were here for Bitcoin, we said buy at 74, 75, take it to 88, take it to 93. So like you guys had the opportunity. You know what I mean? We literally said that we were doing that. I did that myself. I said in the chat, hey, I'm buying. I did. Made some money. It was good. It was fun. Same thing for where did it go? For XLM. We call it. I said I'm going in at 20 cents. I went in at 20 cents. It went all the way to 30 cents at one point. So we're still good. We're still running it. Beautiful. So like there's obviously a lot of plays to be done there. On top of that, those that do stocks, I mean, we called Carvana. Carvana is beautiful. We went in at 166. It is at 256 right now. It's gone up to 265, 266 almost went to. So I mean that's a $100 jump right there on a stock. That is huge for that to happen in the matter of a month. So even the stock plays are there. I did speak about hims and hers as well last week. If you guys took that, as I mentioned, I was going in at that $28. We're at 40. So again, it's like everything's there, guys. Everything there, it's everything's there. Just learn the charts. This is all by just learning charts, following news, checking in for what do you call it? For Q1, Q4, Q3, all those Q meetings that happen, like all that is all public, guys. You just have to make sure you know what you're looking for and take the time in looking for it. Like I said, Amazon Hearns was just one of those things. Same thing, Carvana was one of those things. Looking at the news with Carvana, saying what was happening as far with the tariffs, one thing led into another. There you go. The chart was saying we're going to have that breakout from that change of character retested and go up. And guess what? The candles did just that, and there's still plenty of room. I'm still holding Carvana. I'm holding till 400 myself. Obviously, I already took out the investment, doubled the investment, and then the rest is just running. So I'm gonna let that run all the way to 400. See what happens there with the Carvana side of things. Hims and Herms, I'm holding on this one for a very long time right now. Same thing. I think we got a great position. Those are cutting at $28. That was really good. Sure, you missed out on $3, but $28 is a great position right now. If it were to retest one more time, I'll put in even more. Again, I have a nice, not a financial advisor, but I have a really good feeling on hims and hers, especially if they bring the peptides and all that good stuff to the game. That'll be a whole another situation there. So the biggest thing you need to do is obviously just lock in every single week, make sure you're following proper risk management and follow the cycle. We've done this on trading plans, right? We've done this as far as the cycle. You go ahead, you join, you learn, you get funded, you use that, you buy cryptos, you use that, you buy stocks, and you have the first circle movement at that point. So good stuff happening. Like I said, I'll be waiting again for another nice little dip to come in. Hims and hers, if it dips underneath, I'll grab more. If not, I'll grab it around that 33. Carvana right now, same thing. I mean, if it were to drop and I had to, I would wait somewhere around that 200 if I had to. But right now, I'm sitting there nicely on that one. XLM, if it were to come back again to that 20 cents, I will gladly grab even more. Right now, it might, I think all cryptos right now, because Bitcoin is probably going to take a little bit of not a dump, but it's going to come down maybe into that 90,000 at least and then decide what it wants to do. So with that going to 90,000, all the alts will drop just a little bit. Nothing to panic and freak out, but it'll do a nice little movement there. But that's it for me for sure. What else? Do we have anything else before the giveaway? I know we have obviously like every time events happen with your teams for the events.
Yeah.
Manchester, Fort Lauderdale, you have what do you call it? Atlanta. Obviously, individual teams have their own events too. I know there's a lot happening in Germany, Sweden, London, Spain, Portugal. There's a lot happening on that side too. So make sure you're there. Tap into the chats. Once you join at catchaflunch.com, of course. This week, I'll announce the time and date that I'll be doing a bonus boot camp. So I'm going to do a boot camp to teach you guys how to utilize Tradevate. It's a different platform where you could trade, but more than anything, the intention of me doing this is two things, as I mentioned before. I want to make sure that you guys can have my set of indicators that I have there to utilize that to trade on any platform you're at. So if you have your Tradex account, you could still use the Tradevate indicators to help you read the market the way that I trade to be able to use that for your Tradex one too. And I just feel like if you that's where literally the future is going as towards futures, even in the Forex world. So if it happens or not, at least you guys know how to utilize the platform. You know how to take a buy, you know how to take a sell. But more than anything, what I want to do is share that with you guys. It's something that I've put a lot of time and money into, because that's really the only way to figure out the settings with Tradeovate is actually putting money into it and trading it. If it works, it works. And if it doesn't, guess what? You lose your money. So I've put a good 5, 6 grand already into this for the past 5, 6 months, but it's set, it's ready. So I'll be doing that boot camp for everybody on the paid platform side and the cash apps. I'll be doing that this week. Just not sure what time, date yet. It's going to be around 2 o'clock for sure. So that way everybody in the EU, UK, you guys could tap into. I just need to figure out what date to make sure I don't overlap on any other educator that's live at that time to not take away from them and be respectful. But it will be this week. So just keep an eye on the chats for sure. Keep an eye on social media. So we'll post it on Instagram, all that good stuff too. And yeah, I think it's giveaway time. If you guys want to, if you don't want to give away, if you're not excited, it's okay. You don't have to say nothing. We can just end it here. But if you are excited, you can let us know in the chat now.
Let's go. If you guys are ready for the giveaway, let's go ahead and drop some fire emojis. Let's get lit in the chat before we go ahead and wrap up this edition of Sunday Market Outlook. So let's go, let's go, let's go. It is officially that time to give away. And the beautiful thing is, man, let me share this with you guys here. Appreciate you guys so much, man. We just closed in on 2,000 subs on the channel officially, like right now. So it wouldn't be possible without each and every single one of you guys. Thank you so much, man. Looking forward to continuing this journey of giving you guys as much value, information, motivation, inspiration, whatever it is that can help you guys elevate not just your finances, but really just your life in general. So again, man, appreciate you guys so much for being a part of this journey. And yeah, man, with that said, it's time for a giveaway. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing going. If you guys have been on prior ones, you guys kind of know the drill, but I'm gonna explain how we're gonna pick it because I want to let y'all know right now. I have no favorites. I have no agenda. I will literally just randomly choose a person. I am very fair. We believe in just giving you guys a fair shot at some trading capital. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do, all right? We're gonna give some instructions here of what you need to do for me to choose you in the chat. I will be looking at the YouTube chat here, all right? And picking a random person. Now, real quick, if you already won an account prior, like the last week or the week before, and your name's there, like I'm not gonna pick that name, so just know. But if you've never won an account before, we will be choosing here. So let's continue to light up the chat box. I'm gonna literally close my eyes. We're gonna pick a random person in the chat here and do the giveaway. So let's continue to light up the chat here. And we're about to go ahead and pick somebody here. So let's see. I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna put my finger on the screen and we're gonna see what name I get here. So we're gonna do a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Kent Salmon. Let's go, Kent. Kent is the winner of the account. Let's go, let's go, let's go. W Kent, W Kent, W Kent. Super excited for you. Make sure to message me and Brent at I am Rich Vendiga and at Brent Badal 13 on Telegram.
Telegram is 13. Everything else is at Brent Pedal. The Telegram is Brent Pedal 13. Congrats, Kent. Pays to
Cool.
tap in. I always see Kent here, and every single Sunday Outlook call, see him on the
He is.
lives. Pays to
He is
tap in.
Captain.
That's karma right there. That is the good karma right there.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome, man. Well, congrats, Kent. Super excited for you. So guys, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this edition of Sunday Market Outlook. We will be here obviously next weekend again for the foreseeable future. We do have events coming up. So actually, no, next weekend we'll be in London already, right? Or in Manchester.
Yeah, we got Manchester, then we have so far we got Manchester, us two obviously. But as far as big events, it's
Well, I'm saying for Sunday because we're probably gonna run Sunday next week
oh
then.
yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so next Sunday we're still gonna be in travel mode from Manchester, so there will not be a Sunday Market Outlook next week, I think. Because we're both gonna be flying, I think, at that time, bro. So
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. Yeah. So with that said, guys, we'll see each other in 2 weeks then. But nonetheless, if you guys are in a Koshaks, then you guys will obviously be able to tap into our live sessions that run as normal. Basically, Tuesday through Thursday is when we mainly do our sessions. So make sure you guys are again tapped in with Brent's YouTube, his Telegram, Akashx mainly, of course, to be able to catch our trade alerts, tap to trades, live sessions, all that good stuff. So appreciate you guys so much for being here. Hope you have an amazing rest of your Sunday. We'll see you guys soon. And with that said, y'all, let's run it up.